guys so much for tuning in thus far, and if you're new here, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any future vlogs. Whew. Honestly, I mean, a lot of the things I might discuss on this channel may be a little touchy or difficult, but this one is really rough for me. It hits home. I miss my friend, y'all. I really miss my friend. It's been almost 3 years, down to the month next month, that my friend Bobby Brown Jr., who I just called Bobby, or just BJ or whatever, Big Head, often affectionately. If you don't know who I'm referring to, he is actually Bobby Brown's son, the first child that was actually named after him before Bobby Christina was born. He's like his actual namesake, his entire name. Bobby bears for Brown. And when I tell you this guy was such a light and such a ball of energy, and one thing about him, he would check me. He would absolutely tell people about themselves, but in a very loving way, in a way that you could receive it. His birthday was actually November 26th, which is 8 days after he passed on November 18th, 2020. I've still been battling with it for the last 3 years, but I think for me, I've been battling with it for a specific reason, which I'll get into a little bit towards the end of the video. Forgive me if I get a little bit emotional. I actually met Bobby on Instagram. I mean, where do people meet these days if they're not really going out much? Of course, people that knew me or were close to me, especially my parents, because they don't play about me, they were skeptical about if he was someone that was real or if he was, someone acting as if he's Bobby's son and all that. But no, he was a real person, and we grew a beautiful friendship over time. Literally, probably not long after Whitney passed is when we connected. It's also a time where I connected with Bobby Chris as well. Literally a few months after Whitney passed, and this episode is not about Bobby Christina, but she was also someone that was my friend briefly. I didn't speak to her the last 2 years before she passed, but we just had a good year of a run of being friends. And I don't know if you guys remember these apps, but we used to talk on the Kick app, and I'm really about to date myself, but Uvu, who remembers Uvu? Uvu was the thing before FaceTime, really. I mean, there was Uvu and Skype. You was really popping if you had Skype. But we used to talk on there, but her partner at the time, he's no longer here as well. He and I got into an argument over something really petty. I don't remember what it was, but it was something on Twitter. And after that, I didn't really hear from her, and she changed her number a lot, so it was hard to get in contact with her. We were still friends on social media, but I just couldn't get a hold of her. So that friendship didn't last very long. But me and Bobby Jr., that was my guy, up until the month before he passed. We actually were friends for maybe about 4 years on social media before we met. We would FaceTime, we would literally give each other advice. He was always in the process of creating, always making music. That was, of course, his passion. I mean, how could it not be, with his father and, just the family that he grew up around that was musically inclined. And I even have him sending me one of his songs that really still resonates with me today. I still listen to it quite often. It just, I don't know, it just lifts me up and makes me feel like on the hard days that I can just keep going, especially with everything new in my life since he's been gone. Me becoming a mother. I literally got pregnant the month after he passed away, not even a month after he passed away. So that was crazy because, they say you lose a life to gain a life. So that was really crazy for me. But he would send me music and ask hey, how do you like this? Does this sound right? Do you think I should add this or take this out? We both kind of vibed off of music, but this song right here, it really gets me through.
So girl, you should come lay up with me. Come and ease your mind, baby. I know it's been hard to get some sleep, 'cause lately you've been stressing, yeah. Waiting for a sign that you ain't gon' see. You're really wasting time, baby. Wasting time that should be with me. Time waits for nobody, girl. You gotta know this. Life will pass you by and you won't even notice. So come relax with me. Let your mind be free. You can do anything you want to when you believe. Don't you settle for less. Girl, just do your best. And know that you can make it anywhere. So why you stress when baby girl you got it? Yeah.
We both kind of vibed off of music. Those that don't know, you know, I never really did anything with my music, but I had a little small era where I was producing, if you can call it that. It was more so me making beats in my cousin Tracy's studio when I was in college, living in Culver City, Los Angeles. And that was in 2013, I want to say, and I left in 2014. But me and Bobby had a friendship from before I lived in California. You know, at the time when I was in California, he was in Boston, where he's from. But once I moved back home in 2014, we still were friends for a while. For the next 2 years, we were still just talking on the phone and still just creating our bond. But yeah, we met in 2016 during the time that he was living in Atlanta with one of his cousins. So my young and dumb self, I got a credit card at my first American Express, which everyone knows as an adult, you don't play with American Express. But my credit line was extensive, I'ma just say that. So once I got it in the mail, I literally was like, it's just something came over me. Stupidity. But something came over me and was like, you know what? I'm booking a trip right away, immediately. I'm getting out of here. I didn't know where I wanted to go initially, and it really wasn't planned, but I just thought about it. I was like, you know what? I'm about to go kick it with my boy Bobby. Like, why not? Why not go somewhere where I know someone, where I feel like I could be safe and, you know, be able to explore whatever I want to do where I know someone. So then I booked a room in the Intercontinental in the Buckhead area of Atlanta. I had been conversing with him throughout the day, so I knew that he was in the studio that day, and later on we would meet up. And I went there, and I went to Shake Shack for the first time, not even realizing that there was a Shake Shack in Philly this whole time. But I've always heard about it in Atlanta, so I went there and had it for the first time. It was right down the street from my hotel, so it was convenient. And after that, I just went back because it was nighttime at that point. I just wanted to go back and just watch TV, unwind a little bit, have a little wine or something, just relax, you know, take a good shower and just wait for Bobby to come kick it with me. So lo and behold, he showed up at my hotel and we had a great time. We literally were up all night and we just had a vibe, like to the point where, like, I remember we didn't go to sleep until like 6 a.m. and then we woke up around 4 in the afternoon. And it sucks because I really wish I still had that iPhone where we had our messages, and I remember just him telling me when he got home and all that, and when he was coming, and just like talking about the day that we had, but it's gone. I don't have it. I have some stuff that I did post on my social media, on my Instagram when he passed.
See? You can barely see him, but they finna be on Smash.
Just memories between us of us talking and encouraging each other and being there for each other like we always were. But everything's going on in my life now, you know, my life is a lot more hectic, so that song, You Got It, of course he sent it to me and was like, don't tell anybody, don't show anybody yet before I put it out. You know how musicians are. If you grew up around musicians, you know how they are. They're like, listen to this, but don't show nobody. Going back forward, moving right along, we woke up and we decided to head out, hit the town a little bit. I hit up my girl Nahalia, who at the time was like top dog at Slingshot Entertainment in Atlanta. But we did bowling, where I beat his tail in bowling.
I just got a strike on the first one. Now niggas is feeling salty. I got a strike on the first one. He wasn't ready. He was not ready.
I beat his tail in bowling, and we went go-karting. He whipped me in that, and we just had drinks and food, and just the night just flowed. And by the time we were done with that place, we were just like, we tired, let's just go back and kick it. So we went back to the hotel and we just watched movies. And I remember the movie that we watched was Unfriended. To this day, for real, I can't watch it anymore. Like, not even because it was really that scary. Like, it's a good movie, don't get me wrong, but it's just, I can't see it without thinking of him. So, you know, certain things are very sentimental to me. Even this little picture of us that I actually keep on my bookshelf of us at Slingshot, that I'll probably keep forever. But it just symbolizes a time that I had my friend well and alive and just here with me. So after Atlanta, when I went back home, I came back home to Jersey, I was over the moon. Like, I'm somebody that catches feelings if we have a good time, or I used to be. And I felt like since we vibed, you know, we could have a little something, but he broke my heart, y'all. He broke my heart a little bit. He was still in love with this girl that he, I guess, had been seeing since, like, off and on for years. She's from back where he's from and still in. I thought we was gonna progress into something. I used to do that a lot. I was not good at reading the room when I was younger, that's for sure. One thing I respect about Bobby is that, like I said, he was a very honest person and he pulled no punches. But he was delicate with my feelings, even though it hurt. And he just let me know, like, well, you know, I've been wanting to get back with him, I'll say. You know, this is my opportunity. She was a cheerleader, and he's like, she's gonna be in Florida soon. I gotta go down there, I gotta see her, I gotta get my girl back. And that's what I want, you know. Sorry that you ain't it, basically. But he's like, I always want to be your friend. I always want to be in your life. And I'm like, honestly, real love, real friends. If I ever saw this person as my friend, that's what real friends are going to do. You know, I just stepped back, I supported him, and watched him go be with her. It didn't work. It didn't last. He ended up later down the line, many years later, boo-hooing to me about her moving to LA and them moving in together briefly and finding things, and it just didn't work out. And I was like, see. I mean, I never really praised anyone's breakup, but it was just like, I was right here. But by that time, for real, I had other relationships, and I really just started to see him as my bro. Like, I'm not gonna say my brother, because that would be, but you know, he was my bro, and we were just mad cool, and still always was there for each other. He could come to me for anything, and I could go to him. You know, I'm not gonna get too deep into his business and his personal life and things that he's told me, like his struggles within his family, but you know, there were times where he needed me to step up for him, you know, when he was really out here trying, and he felt like some people weren't really in his corner like he needed them to be. But after Atlanta, I didn't really see him in person anymore. Like, actually, not long after the time we had in Atlanta, he actually moved back. I actually helped him to get back to where his mother was living at the time. I believe it was one of the Carolinas, North or South Carolina. That was a long story and private, but he just needed to get out of Atlanta. But then from there, I don't know what happened with that. I guess that didn't work out. Then he went to LA to go live out there and go be with his dad and try to boost his career even more and still work on his craft. And at that time, I didn't really hear from him as much as I used to, because he was really out there hustling. Like, he was really trying to make it. Like, when I tell you, he's so talented. Like, his music was, you know, I know you heard that little clip of one of his songs, but he was really a beast. Like, he had so much in him, and he was a great singer. He was a great talent. His the visuals that he would have, or like the ideas for visuals that he would have, was like,
let me ease your mind, your mind. Everything's alright, everything's alright. I'm gonna take my time. Everything's alright, everything's alright. Feels like heaven when I touch your lips. Nothing feels better. Nothing feels better. Oh, you love something I could not miss. Nothing is better.
honestly, it really bothers me that he's not here, because the world really needed a Bobby Brown Jr. I'm gonna just say that. But you know, he would come to me and vent to me about things happening out there. It just felt like no matter where he was, he didn't always feel settled in a way. He didn't always feel like, I'm not gonna say like, it's not that he didn't feel like he was at home with where he was. It was just, he was always on an inward journey. That's one thing that we connected with a lot, was spirituality. He loved God, and he would bounce around with what he believed, and we would have arguments. At that time, I used to be gung-ho, like, it's Jesus all the way, you know? I'm still gung-ho about the Lord. But, you know, he would dibble and dabble in certain things, but he would always come to me and say, hey, like, he was very in tune with himself and with spirituality, and he definitely always was someone that wanted to do right and that loved people. He loved his family. He loved his younger siblings. He loved all of his siblings, but, you know, he would definitely talk about his little brother, Cassius Brown, who is Bobby and Alicia's son. He loved to cook. He loved food. He definitely was a foodie. He really was just someone that if you knew him, like, he was a for-lifer, for real. Like, he was very loyal and always there for people just as much as, you know, you would want to be there for him, because he had a way about him that made you believe in him, because he was really something special. He was going to be something in this world, you know, and I hate that time was cut short for him, you know. You know, he definitely dibbled and dabbled in some things. He would experiment with some things. He wasn't someone that used like that, or it was, you know, like, he partied hard, but he didn't party that hard, if you know what I mean. Like, he loved to have a good time, but he wasn't someone that just wanted to be passed out crazy somewhere. I was aware of some things, and there was a point where I would have to say no if he would ask for certain things, because I kind of sensed that something was off and something wasn't right when he was living in LA. So we kind of started losing more contact because of that, because I didn't want to feel like I was enabling, and I didn't want to feel like, I also didn't want to push him away. So I didn't want to say like, hey, are you doing this? Are you doing that? Or no, I'm not giving you this or that if you're going to be doing this or that. But at the same time, I absolutely regret not staying in contact with him as much as we used to. The last time I spoke to him was actually the month before he passed away. He was still living in LA at that time, but I actually, in September, was in LA the month before the last time I spoke to him. I was out there with two friends celebrating one of their birthdays. I felt like a third wheel at this point. I hit up Bobby because that was my comfort. I'm in LA. I know he lives here, so I wanted to, you know, just reach out to him and talk to him and tell him how I was feeling, because I didn't feel like I could really talk about what I was feeling while I was there, because like I said, it was one of their birthdays and I was not gonna be the party pooper and, you know, bring up my feelings and ruin that person's birthday. So I hit up my boy, but of course, at that time he was in Boston visiting his family. And I didn't really plan on like seeing him while I was in LA, because it wasn't about him, it was about my friend. But I just needed that comfort, and I feel like there's someone else in LA that I could talk to, if that makes sense. So like I said, he was back in Boston, so it was like, dang. We were actually planning for us to try to meet up once I was back on the East Coast, but our dates were like mixed up. He was due to be back in LA before I was due to be back in Jersey, and I just knew I wasn't going to be able to see him while I was in LA, so that was a bummer. But he was there hanging out with family anyway, so you know, I didn't really want to interrupt with that until the end of his trip, but we missed each other, so we weren't able to link up. So that time in Atlanta was our one and only time where we were together and we hung out, but we still had a good 8 years. 8 years from 2012 to 2020 when he passed. We still had a long, deep, and loving friendship. The person whose birthday it was, sorry friend, but he was not okay with the fact that I had reached out to Bobby at that time, because he was like, this is my birthday, I'm not okay with you talking to Bobby, trying to meet up with him. And I'm like, I wasn't trying to meet up with him, you know, but you know, I get it, because I'm a birthday person, and when it's my birthday, it's about me. But that was a thing, that was an issue, you know, so I felt bad about that, and I just remained distant from Bobby like I had been anyway for a little while, where we weren't talking as much. He was reaching out to me, and I just was like not answering because I felt bad, and a part of me was still trying to appease this person because I still have feelings, you know, and I just didn't want to do anything that would upset them, especially being that I already had upset them around the time of their birthday, so I felt like that ruined it. But I really should have not allowed that to get in the middle of me and Bobby's friendship. When, I mean, I was friends with this person longer than I was friends with Bobby, but I don't think you should allow other friendships to interfere with another friendship. If you haven't already, check out my video on narcissism that I posted before this video, and you'll know that I have had and still do have an issue with being a people pleaser. But at that time, I just allowed that person's feelings to, you know, and I'm not blaming that person, I'm just saying me, I allowed their feelings to get in the way of my friendship that I had with Bobby. And the last time Bobby reached out to me was in October, and normally Bobby would have a way of texting me. If we hadn't talked in a long time, he would be like, Salita, like he would send me a long text literally saying like, Salita, like spelling out my name with a bunch of A's. But that was kind of like our way of knowing that each other was okay, like we were hitting each other up in good spirits, because if we weren't in good spirits, then it would be just like, hey, or yo, or you busy, can you FaceTime, can you talk? So the last time that he did hit me up, I knew something wasn't right, because he literally just said my name, but the extra A's weren't there, it was just Salita. So I immediately looked at that message like, something ain't right. But I still took it upon myself, to be honest, to just ignore it. I really regret that, because that was the last time he reached out to me. And there was no more Salitas, there was no more Bobbies, there was no more text messages, there was no more music, no more songs, just everything gone. And I really live with that. I sit with that daily. Honestly, anytime I think about the fact that I ignored my friend, not knowing, of course, that the following month he wasn't going to be here anymore, but that still haunts me in a way, because, you know, I know we beat ourselves up and feeling like maybe something could have been different if I just answered, but deep down I know that me answering the phone, or even if we did FaceTime each other or call each other on the phone, I knew that it wouldn't have made a difference. But you know, we tend to be selfish at times, and we harbor this guilt as a way to hold on to them, or a way to still grieve at times. But that's something I still battle with. So part of this for me is a way to honor him, because part of me feels like I failed him because I didn't answer when he needed me. I could tell within that text that he needed me, because he said my name, but then when I didn't answer after a few minutes, he was like, I really need to talk to you. And that's the part for me that really gets to me, because why didn't you just answer, bro? Like, you could have given him something. I don't think that he was a suicidal person at all. You know, I just know that he was dabbling in things that weren't healthy for him, and that ultimately did lead to his passing. It's no secret. It's everywhere. It was in the news. I know many people in my life, family members that have passed from the same thing, and it's real, man. That epidemic is so deadly and not worth it, to be honest. But that was the last time that, I can't say that I spoke to him, but the last time I heard from him, and I still carry it with me to this day. So I really just wanted to take the time, since it's coming up on the 3-year anniversary of his passing, to acknowledge him and reflect on him and think about him and the friendship that we had and the memories that we shared. Even if the majority of them were over the phone, you know, they still were between us, and it was something that I really held dear and cherished really close to my heart, and I'll probably hold it with me forever. But like I mentioned, he was just such a great talent, and I really hate that he didn't get the opportunity to really show who he was and what he had to offer to the world. He did, you know, of course, have music videos. There's some really great ones that you can check out here on YouTube, like Dark Night, which was released actually earlier this year. There's one of my favorites, In Her City, that's kind of dated, but that's my jam. And there's a track that I really love called Say Something. That one really hits my soul because, of course, I'm someone, if you watched my last vlog, I'm someone that has endured abuse, you know, and I feel like that speaks volumes. Like, you gotta speak up, you gotta say something. You can't live in fear about whatever's going on in your life, any vice or anything that is a detriment to your well-being. You know, even if you feel like someone will judge you, say something, speak up about it. There was his song, Wish I Would, and another one that I really love, Heart on Ice, and you can literally look these up and find them on his YouTube page. I believe whoever he was working with at that time, or whoever produced his music and, you know, coincided with him writing or whatever, released the song so you can listen to him. A lot of people may not have known him and didn't get the opportunity to experience his greatness. I know his family, you know, his siblings and his cousins really miss him, and I know that they're definitely keeping his memory alive. I thank you guys again so much for tuning in and listening in on my little emotional moment. Remembering my friend Bobby Jr. Happy birthday to you, Bobby. Next month. Words cannot explain how much I miss you, how much I love you, and you're always going to be with me, my guy. Before you guys leave this video, please, yet again, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any future vlogs. And also go ahead and make sure you like and share as well. Love you guys. See you soon.
I'm riding chrome, gripping wood grain. Lately all I feel is pain.